Welcome back. I decided to break up these episodes into smaller chunks because I've been having so much trouble rendering the videos, so maybe this will help if it's a bit of a smaller file. So hopefully I don't forget to do that. Let's see if he's just going to pop out of the water right away. Because that's not what we need. We need him to not do that. Perfect, okay. Fuck, yes he did. What in the Sam hell? We literally just did this, right? And he didn't show up at 9? Okay. Alright, we can deal. We'll go to noon and we'll just wait it out. There's other places to take a picture of him, like from the bridge is not a bad spot, but I'm just trying something new. Arguably, if I like did a alright, if I no, he pops out right away. I was gonna say arguably I could make it up this tree if I did a Rivali scale really fast, but that's not true. Look at the way his like the kind of his ribs are. That shit's sick. What in the hell? How did it even hit me? Yeah, sad. We're waiting a whole 12 hours now. But I don't want to leave because climbing up here is kind of a bitch. I have a teleport thing, do I not? I don't ever use it. No, I don't. I don't remember how you get that. Oh, you know what? I think you have to do, Eventide, maybe? The island... where is it at? Over there? It's at the edge of the map, so over that way. Yeah, maybe it's Eventide. And you get the teleport stone or whatever. Alright, so we kind of have a while to wait, because I blew it. So let's climb up there while I talk. So I make the observation that I'm feeling very lonely, and I'm trying to figure out why. And essentially, what I realized is like I've always been a very extroverted person, and I know this about myself. I gain energy from parties and from spending time with like either large groups of people or just like a few people. But like I don't have to have people around me at all times, but I definitely like it takes energy for me to be in solitude. Um and since I moved to this state to Virginia, I also happen to work in a situation where it's like me and one person my age who's also in the military, and we work with a bunch of older civilians. Which I way prefer as like a work scenario, but I realize that like from in the military, most of your social, sheesh, go there. Most of your like, god damn, this game is just fucking whoops gorgeous. Yeah, my horse I left on the beach miles and miles away. What's that over there? I guess I'll go explore there later. I don't know what state. Is this Dueling Peaks? What stable is that? Oh, it is. Yeah, these are the Dueling Peaks. I see. These two. And then that's stable. I see. So you follow that over to Kakariko that way, or my house. I don't remember what it's called. There it is. That's my house right there. Is it? Yes. I think. Okay, let me get closer. How much time I got? Whole day. No, that's my house right there. That guy. That's where the other dragon is. And then the third one, he's all over the fucking map. He could be anywhere. So, it's just his acknowledgement. Man, this guy is just like... I didn't realize he shows up so often. I thought he only really showed up like twice a day. And you know what? He is facing this way, right? Isn't that what we just found out? So, this is probably the best angle. Who's to say? Now I'll probably have to do this again, because Plus, he might, like, it might be hard to spot him coming out of the water from all the way up here. But, what's life without risk? So let's try it. But we got a while to go now. I really thought he only showed up at on the 12s. I'm be surprised. I'm thinking this is not gonna work, but I really want it to. Oh, maybe if I get this, like, yeah, okay. Like, if I could just get him coming out of the water with this wide shot. Like, I don't even... Man, I can't tell. Maybe right here. Maybe, like, a mid. Because it's either this, or you get the, like, gorgeous plateau and the waterfall in the shot. This, which keeps the elements of the waterfall, or, like, close enough that you, like, see him coming out of water. I think this mid-range shot might be... And I do like that. Like a semi-mid. Yeah, let's try that. The question is, do I leave my camera? I'm trying to center him too. I think it's right around here. But we'll wait until midnight to get the shot anyways. Man, but maybe now midnight might be too late in the day to, like, get a good light for this scenery. This is my finicky simulator. I just simulate how finicky I am in real life. So I'm taking a tea break for myself. Say, if you don't have some tea for yourself, I recommend taking the time to get some while we're sitting here. I have a lot of fancier teas, but they're more involved, so I hardly ever break them out. Hardly's not right. I drink them every so often. I just much prefer. I'm always. You know what? I really should just be slowing it down a little and taking my time to enjoy the fancy teas that I got just for me. So I make this realization that my social life is dead, that I have, in this state, 2 friends, and I essentially don't want to impose, not that, like, they've ever made me feel like I can't rely on them to spend time with, but, like, I don't like the idea of becoming dependent on specific people for my entire, to fulfill my entire social needs. But I start to feel lonely, and I can track, like, how negative emotion impacts me. Like, I go from, like, cooking food all the time for myself and, like, doing yoga and like meditating to like only ever watching YouTube and ordering food on DoorDash. Like it's a very clear transition when I'm in like a funk. Ugh, I don't want it to be raining for this shot. Well, I still got like 4 hours, so but I bet it'll still be raining in 4 hours. So now, just what in the hell was I talking about? Right, I don't want to be dependent on like the same people for my entire social needs, but like you get in this weird place in your head where you're like, well, really, I'm like choosing to be alone because I have, well, I do anyways. I have so many things that I'm working on that like I need the solitude to like have the time to do it, and if by that I mean like I'm trying to learn guitar and piano and a harp and trying to learn to animate and also have time to like do these kinds of videos, and also I'm in college. I'm taking 4 classes, and I work like a normal work schedule. So it's very like, you know, this is probably a fairly common complaint, but it's like, well, I could convince myself that I really need the time for me, so I can't really afford to like be social or like go. But I think much more of that is just like, you scratching your ass, Link? What the hell? Much more of that is, one, it's a little bit of fear. Like, I don't have social anxiety. I don't really have a problem meeting new people. But there's like an associated, like, lameness with, like, I'm a grown adult and I have to, like, go meet people. Like, I have to go out into the world and be like, hello, other adults, strangers. Do you want to be my friend? Don't ask why I don't have any friends. Like, there's something that's a little, like, you know, it's understandable to be a bit hesitant for that reason. And then, other than that, I don't know. It's sort of like when you're in one of those moods, you're not thinking like straightforward, where it's like, I have a problem. How do I solve this problem? And my problem is I don't have any people. Like, I don't have enough people in my life, like physically around me. How do I solve that? Your brain doesn't really solve that objectively. It just wants to cling on to the emotion of it, which is just like, oh, I'm this lonely, sad boy, and you know, I'm gonna be miserable and alone my entire life, and like it essentially tries to cope with that instead of like fixing it. But I would say that I really didn't want it to be raining. We'll see how this shot comes out. This will be a good excuse to like, if the shot does not come out well anyways, then I'll just say the rain killed it. Alright, I gotta focus, because this is how I blew it last time. No, whoops, that's that. I want this one. 40, okay. I don't know what the translation to in-game time is, but I'm guessing it's 45. 50, okay. Alright, I'm ready. Eyes are peeled. You seeing a dragon? I'm not seeing a dragon. Bet you he just spawns in. Are you kidding me? This guy wants to show up all day and he doesn't show up the one time he's supposed to. What in the Sam hell is even happening? Ugh. I fear I have wasted your time. I don't want to look away and then that's exactly when he shows up. But, like, where the heck is he? It's not particularly exciting television to stand in this one spot, but I really don't want to blow it. So, maybe we'll chill. I'll keep an eye. Damn it. I also, I find it a little bit annoying to have the camera, like, just pointed. Not really. This is kind of what I'm doing this for, is, like, the idea is, like, I'm a wildlife photographer, and, like, that's exactly what you would do. You'd sit for long periods of times looking down the barrel of a camera, waiting for a good moment. Like, and, and the other planning all surrounding that, and understanding, like, your terrain and stuff, but I'm not genuinely annoyed, but I feel that tension, especially whenever I'm just recording, and, like, I'm picturing other people watching the recording. It's like I'm ever present of, like, the entertainment appeal of what I'm doing, but, like, that's not what this is supposed to be. It's supposed to just be a journal that I happen to let be public because I think that my friends would enjoy it. Like so it's very... That to me is a clue of, like, that's something I could work on. And it, to me, it seems like a clue to a bigger insight in my psyche, which is that, like, despite my claims that I am typically very zen, I still have this insane amount of... I still have this, like, ego about me that I'm like, I want other people to perceive me as, like, intelligent and entertaining, and and that comes from whatever, trying to win the approval of my mom or something like that. Like, it's very... That tracks. That makes sense to me, that, like, that I am like that. Despite fundamentally not believing that's who I am or, like, what I want. Like, logically understanding that's not what I want, but I can understand why subconsciously I still am very attention-seeking, and I can see how that plays out, and this is an example of that, like, not, like, being fidgety or feeling okay with not being the most entertaining at every moment, when this is, the whole point of this exercise is I'm supposed to be letting myself be... just exist as myself, however I am in the moment. To that end, what I was saying was, I noticed that I while I did get, like, depressed for, like, a week and a half, I eventually, that run its course, where my normal habits took over. My habits used to be the other way around, where it was like I had to, like, really work to, like, get myself to, like, cook and do the dishes and clean my house and, like, eat healthy or, like, work out, like, stuff like that. Do my work. Like, it used to be my habit that I would have to, like, fight against to do those things. Now it is my my normal habit to do those things, to like, live a kind of clean and slow-paced life that I could only be in, like, a depressive state for so long before I kind of reverted back to my normal level of peace, which is incredible. I'm, like, so grateful that is, like, how I can characterize my life now, because that was not the case before. And something I've noticed is, like, I only really get that way when I'm not being very grateful in life, like, when I kind of forget the things that I really appreciate. Like, in this context, I'm saying that, like, it was prompted by this feeling of extreme loneliness, but I wasn't being grateful for, like, I got so lucky. I have some of my favorite people, like, in the world within 15 minutes of me right now. And, like, so what if if I don't have a large enough social circle. Like, there's never been a moment where I haven't felt the presence of love in my life. Like, that's, part of me wants to be kind of, like, forgiving of myself, that like, yeah, okay, yeah, I went through bad emotions. Everybody does. That's fine. Like, I shouldn't be upset with myself. But also, there's a part of me that, like, no, I hold myself to a standard of being grateful for what I have, and I hadn't met that mark for a little while. So it feels good to be back in that state of mind, and I'm grateful for that. And then the other thing is just like, there was this flip where what I ended up doing, I signed up for a beach volleyball club that starts in like a month from now, and like that, the promise of like some more social interaction was enough to get my brain to go, oh, okay, like, we're not going to be desperately alone forever. Like, we're taking steps. What time is it? This guy's never going to show up ever again, and we blew it. So that's really all I'd say about that. There's this calculation that I had going in my mind, which what I was talking about before, which was like, I have all these things I want to do, and so it'll probably be better to choose to be alone and to have solitude, so that I can like really spend the next couple years of my life honing my skills and like developing this certain way. Have we ever seen him show up while we're at this angle? I don't remember if he showed up and we just missed it while we were over here, or if he like won't show up because of this particular angle. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, we might be preventing his spawn. If we pass through noon again, although I'm really thinking he might show up at 9 now. But if we pass through noon again and he doesn't show up, I'm gonna just give up on this and move on. It almost looks like that's his shadow underneath there. What in the Sam hell was I saying? So I was running this calculation in my head, which was like, okay, well, if I have I'm trading off the fact that my social tank will always be empty, and so it will always feel like I'm missing something. And in the case of a social need, like, it feels, this has to do with like the reward circuitry in the brain, but it feels like if you aren't getting enough sleep, it's like the same level of like cortisol and stress. And that's really dependent on like what kind of person you are. So like, an introvert might not gain energy from groups of people, or they might gain energy in a smaller dose of people, and like a smaller amount of people will give them a lot of energy, as opposed to like high extrovert like me, where like I kind of need a large dose of people, either large groups of people or like exposure to people over a long period of time, to like gain the same amount of energy. So I'm making this calculation where I'm essentially saying I can trade off not feeling like I haven't slept in a long time, or like feeling very lonely, which depresses me to a certain degree, and I will accept that for like so many years, let's say 3 years, or the amount of time it takes me to get out of the Navy, essentially. And in that time, I will focus on like self-development, or building all those skills I want, and like focusing on my hobbies and my like life goals and everything, and overall I'll come out stronger for it, versus I need to go and meet people and like, I don't know, maybe try and get a girlfriend or something like that, and it's not worth the trade-off I would get for personal development. And eventually I just kind of realized, like, at a practical level, I'm not very efficient when I am alone for very long. Like, even though I do use the time to work on my skills, I'm not so efficient that like it's worth a trade-off of being desperately alone. So it's like, the amount of time I'm missing out to work on myself, I wouldn't otherwise be using to work on myself. I don't work at that level of efficiency. And even if it would be slightly more efficient, it's definitely not worth the the amount of depression I would get if I was alone for a seriously long amount of time. And I know that because I was alone for years before. I've done that before, and in a worse, when I was a lot worse off, and the trade-off, I can guarantee you that trade-off was not worth it at any point. Man, we're never seeing this fucking dragon ever again. I said we'll expect noon. Oh shit. We'll expect noon. Actually, damn it, I don't want this to be the first time I'm trying out the capture button. I'll stick with the camera for this one, and then maybe I'll do both. I'll try and take a picture with the camera, and then I'll try and back out and use the capture. We'll see how it works. We're coming up on 12, right? Yes. Okay. I'm zoned in. This is all for a shot that I'm not even sure will look good. Yeah, I have no idea what this will look like yet, because we haven't been able to pull it off once. Last minute, I'm deciding to zoom in a little because I want to be able to see him close up enough. Okay. Oh, son of a whore. It's just, just hashtag just Dante things. Alright, bucko. It's now or never. This motherfucker is not showing up. Okay. Sorry to have wasted your time, but I believe it's time to move on. It's a bit frustrating. Well, I'll tell you what. That's a good picture. Like, ultimately, like, I'm not upset about it. I just was trying a thing. That's also a good picture. I got good pictures of him, but I lost that footage, so I was hoping to get a good one today. But all right, well, you can fight me if you're mad about it. This looks about a good time for a episode break anyway, so I will see you in just a bit.